Good evening, guys. My name is Patrik Juranek, and I'm founder and CEO of Startup Disrupt. It's my really pleasure to welcome you at this amazing, our first official online event in Hungary, because we are starting our new operations in Hungary in Budapest. And what is actually Startup Disrupt? Startup Disrupt so far is trying to, in the Startup Disrupt, we are trying to build the global platform for startups, entrepreneurs, to help them with their inspiration, education, and connection to their potential mentors, advisors, even investors. So this is what we are doing. This is a Startup Disrupt, and it's my pleasure once more to be here right now with all of you guys from all around the world, because I could see in the registrations that we don't host only the people from Europe, but as well we have some guys from US, from Asia, and especially from Asia. Guys, good evening to you and salute, because it's amazing that you made it. So right now we'll move to our first panel discussion, led by amazing Csongor Biás from Startup Hungary. And after 1 hour, we'll have the pitch session with two amazing founders who will pitch their ideas. But before we'll move there, I would like to give you, let's say, a couple of minutes and to ask you just a really easy question. So please, if you are on the YouTube, or even if you are on the Facebook and checking this video, please try to answer those questions right now. Okay, hopefully that you could make it, and we really can't wait to see your answers in the online thread on the YouTube or Facebook. And right now, I would like to pass the word to Csongor, who will be the moderator for today's panel. So, Csongor, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Hi, welcome everybody. Thanks for the invitation, and thanks for this opportunity to moderate this panel. My name is Csongor Biás, and I'd like to welcome our dear participants today. First, starting with Kata Ludvig, CEO of Refund, Kristóf Bárdos, co-founder and CEO of Green Fox Academy, and Gabor Pozsonyi, partner at Portfolion Capital. Welcome everybody, and thank you so much for accepting the invitation for this event. First of all, please could you introduce yourself shortly and just tell the brief story of how you got into startups and the tech industry, and please feel free to start in any order. Who'd like to start?
I'll volunteer myself.
Great.
So welcome on this or actually not podcast, but on this live stream. My name is Kata Ludvig, and as Csongor has introduced me, I am currently the CEO of Refund. It's a funny story. I got into the industry in February, basically 3 weeks after I got nominated as a CEO. The flights were down by 90%. This also meant that our market was basically non-existent at the time. Before that, so just to wrap up in a few sentences how I got here and how I'm now a part of the startup community in Hungary. My career started out as a traditional, I would say, Hungarian business career. I started to work at multinational companies. Then I moved across Europe, and then there was a turning point when I got a scholarship for an MBA program in California. And of course, we all know that the US just really has this entrepreneurial culture and mindset. So basically the 1.5 years that I spent there really taught me a lot, and it just made me believe that it's just great to make your own business, be your own boss, And it's a much more exciting challenge to build something from zero. So when I came back to Hungary, first I started a business called Banksy, which was a family banking platform. And then now I'm here as a CEO of Flight Refund. So this is how I got into it.
Cool. Gabor, would you continue?
Yes, I would. I joined Portfolion in March, and I spent like 4 days in the office, and then all home office. Right. It was a career change for me. I had experience in management consulting and commercial banking, mainly retail, and also in impact investment and impact banking, basically. And apart from obviously very personal reasons, the strategic reasons of me joining Portfolion represent a refocusing of the strategy of Portfolion's digital fund towards becoming more active regionally, and B, focus more on helping our founders in company building, basically. So from my, I was partner at KPMG in financial institutions advisory services in Central and Eastern Europe, and I guess in company building, my management consulting background come in handy, and also being quite a peculiar animal among the VCs, because we are a corporate VC founded by OTP, which is most of you know very well that it's a huge, the largest Hungarian and a huge Central European financial institution. But we are not exactly a corporate VC in a sense that we don't need to invest along OTP's strategic interests. Has that because of the talent pool we can draw on at OTP, and for many other reasons, fintech, I hate the word really, so inflated, but fintech is a bit overrepresented in our, not in our current portfolio, but in the strategy we are now starting to build. But it's not at all exclusive. So yeah, I think this is it as an introduction.
Thank you. I think we will get back to many points in terms of, having to get our ecosystem more regional and international focused, as well as, the local VC scene. So Kristóf, would you please continue with a brief intro of yourself, getting into tech and Green Fox Academy?
Yes, actually I got into tech in 2005 and 6. I was pretty young back in that time, and I was hanging out with my brother's colleagues who was a designer, and I had no clue about technology, but we were hanging out together, and one of the guys invited me to his newly funded, I would say, startup today. Back in those days, we didn't know that word. And I was kind of an intern and picking up different segments of technology. I'm not a software engineer by myself, but I was working as a product owner, Scrum Master, consultant, business developer in the technology field. And that company experimented with many technologies like speech recognition and things like that. They were not really successful because of a couple of reasons that we can touch later on, like not knowing the market size and not testing enough the user experience and things like that. And later on, we started to develop mainly web and mobile-based applications all around the world. And then we started a couple of software as a service startups. And I became apparently the CEO of that company, the previous company where I worked for, and a major shareholder of that. And Green Fox Academy was one of the spin-off startups that we co-funded after a couple of adventures. I was even sitting in an early stage investment board before that, so tried out a couple of things. And with Green Fox Academy was one of the first startups or company we funded when we were really tackling on the actual problem on the market, that the technologies, there is a big shortage on the technology skills and software engineers. And we started it as an experimental project in a really small scale. And after that, we scaled it up to a bigger regional company. And now we are solving the problem on the market of not having enough technical skills because of artificial intelligence, and robotics is going to drastically change the labor market, and mainly adult people who are over 20, 25 years old, they need to acquire technology skills to be employable in the coming 5-10 years. So this is the problem that we are working on through the education, of course.
Amazing. Thank you so much, everybody, for the intro. So I'd like to focus today's discussion on mainly two things. First is discussing really the state of the Hungarian startup ecosystem, like how are we doing compared in the region, what can be done better. And the other aspect would be to really tell hands-on stories that are useful for entrepreneurs, founders, and people who work at startups that they can apply for their businesses and their stuff. So I'd like to start with the first question of what do you think about the past 10 years of story and history of the Hungarian local tech scene? Obviously, almost everybody say, and we had been mentioning the 3-4 poster child Hungarian startups, Prezi, Ustream, Logmein, NNG, and they were funded 10 years ago, and since then a lot of things have happened. An insane amount of capital flew into the market. Every corporates run their own accelerator program, innovation programs. The government is heavily supporting startups. How do you what do you think about the progress? How are we doing? What has improved and what are still lagging, and what are the challenges? If you could give an overview about this progress that you, all three of you, have witnessed closely.
What I have seen, I remember in 2010 or 11, when we have co-funded one of the startups called Mixgar, social music jukebox application, and we have just announced that we are working on something, and we use the wording startup. It was kind of enough to be in the major headlines of the local news, and they were mentioning us like the next Prezi or the next big shot from Hungary, which was kind of funny because we did literally nothing. We have just announced that we started something. And we have visited a couple of startup competitions, and we won some medals, and that was enough to make some fame. And since then, if I jump to the present days, the startups have to work very hard to gain some reputation and appreciation, and which is good. I think many entrepreneurs already. And not just the big names, but smaller startup funders made exit on this market, and they are educating the local startups, the local scenes, and they are getting familiar with expressions like what it is like lean startup and things like that, which was kind of unknown 5 or 10 years ago, and now it's kind of the native language of these startups. So I think many things have happened. There are many failed startups, which is good, and luckily there are many people who try it again. So I think there is a big capital in experience that has accumulated in the last 5-10 years. So it's uncomparable, the current scene to what we could see a decade ago.
Gabor, how do you see the progress, especially regarding of available funding, and how are the resources for fundraising for startups in Hungary, and how is the VC scene progressed over the last couple of years?
I'm probably not best positioned to judge, since I was not part of that ecosystem 10 years ago. I obviously knew many of the participants. Some of the founders were actually friends, still are, but was not. I was not part of the scene back then. What I can say is actually twofold. One is that somehow, obviously, the whole ecosystem got much more sophisticated, and more funds are available, and the vocabulary, as Kristóf mentioned, changed, and obviously we learned a lot about this whole startup world. But somehow I feel that the early successes of Ustream and Prezi, and somehow we lost momentum in terms of no really big successes followed the early ones. That's one thing. And the other, which I sense now, traveling virtually all over Central Europe in the past couple of months, trying to test the water, is that there are startup hubs, most notably in the Baltics, in the Czech Republic, and probably, if I can say that, in Bulgaria, that sort of more distinctive approaches, more differentiating strategies, if we can talk about the strategy of an ecosystem. So they probably differentiate themselves much better. And I'm still trying to figure out the startup miracle in the Baltics, especially in fintech. So these are my thoughts on this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kata, what do you think? What do we need in terms of having more ambitious? Because in the Baltics, I think most of the startups that there is a saying, I heard this many times, that Estonia is small enough to think by default globally, and I think in Hungary a lot of startups try to start on the local market and then go expand regionally and then to large markets, as opposed to what really big successes we saw. It was rather going on the global market. How do you see that? And with Flight Refund, you guys are targeting basically the international market from right away, and I'd like to hear what you think about the ambition level of local startups as you know many of them.
Yeah, so I think ambition can be closely tied to the risk-taking attitude, and risk-taking attitude can be enhanced through government programs, like just to provide a safe net of a startup ecosystem, where you have the mentors, where you have the VCs who are willing to invest in you, where the VCs not only give you money but support you with their international network and global network. And regarding your question, if it's like local or starting on a global level, I feel like it totally depends on the industry. So Hungary is a small market, even in Europe, and also I feel like most of the startups that we create here in Hungary are focused on a B2B, and especially in the IT and financial technologies industry. So I think those are kind of the most popular industries. And I believe that it's harder to build, for example, a fintech from Hungary and to approach international banks, because you just don't have the traction. Even if you have like a few pilot partners here in Hungary, like smaller banks, it's just not enough traction to sell to I don't know, an international bank. With Flight Refund, it's different, of course, because we're in the travel industry, and it's by default way more international. Because of the definition of traveling. So I feel like it's just easier, and also there are not that many. So the startup scene is not as crowded in the travel industry, and it was for me. So just for background, I also worked in the fintech or banking industry, and now I'm in the travel industry. And compared the two, it's way easier to get or open doors for international clients in the travel industry as it was in the fintech industry for me.
Totally. Kristóf, can you a little bit expand on your scaling strategy and how you're trying to open up new operations in the Czech Republic and in Slovakia with Green Fox, and how do you guys approach international growth?
Yeah, so I think there is a pre-COVID strategy and a post-COVID strategy that we could definitely separate with a strong red dot line. And before COVID, we launched our campus in Prague 2 years ago, and it was more an operation-driven and the local ecosystem understanding-driven market or market entry strategy. This means we have hired local people. We started to collaborate with the Czech startup scene players, which was actually a pretty good experience. They were very open and welcoming, so that was fantastic. And it was a heavy investment into new markets. After the COVID, it was kind of impossible to open up a new campus in Slovakia, which is the new market where we are entering in these days. So we have changed our strategy, and we started a project first, marketing first approach, which doesn't require the local presence. And we have learned that being part of the local ecosystem is possible even without being present, if you find the right players with the right messages, and if you could articulate the problem and the solution that we offer. So we could build a collaboration with Grow with Google and Accenture of partnering up in the first courses we are starting in Slovakia. And we started an online marketing campaign and offering free short online courses to the audience. And this is how we started to build a funnel, which seems to be successful. So you might have seen the meme that who did lead the digital transformation of the company, the CEO, the CTO, or COVID-19. I could say with a self-reflection that COVID pushed us through the line to become a more scalable business and using more digital solutions, not just in marketing, but in terms of the education itself. So this is how we do in these days.
Gabor, a question to you. What do you think? Is kind of a common and regular stopping point in a startup where they really stuck and cannot grow? Preparing for this discussion, we have mentioned a couple of things like missing skills and sometimes bringing in people from international markets. Can you bring examples of your portfolio companies when they were stuck but figured out a solution to grow further and to expand?
Yes, and a little bit of answering your previous question as well. We at Portfolion, we definitely are searching for Central Eastern European funders with at least European, but preferably global vision. That's a given. So if someone knocks on the door and says, I have a solution and I'm going to sell it in Hungary, that's a no-go. I'm going to sell it in the region, maybe, but we are searching for companies at least with a European vision. I would mention two specific. On your previous question, I think we would push for, well, we would push for the hockey stick, right? So we would push for global business development. There are sort of non-organically, right? But there are two serious issues with that, what we experienced. One is that we think the global business development should be managed someone who at least grew up in outside of this region, to be honest, preferably in an Anglo-Saxon environment. So we think that the business development, the business development person should represent a completely different culture than what we have here in the region. And that's something of a challenge, because those people are requiring personal cost and salaries and shares and everything in a completely different scale, right? So they are expensive. The other issue I would mention is the tension between this non-organic global or European-wide business development and the need for organic growth of the company itself. So managing a hockey stick-like growth and putting a developing company behind it, resource it, reorganize it every second month is just a challenge that is very difficult to cope with. That's our experience. So you have to be careful with who's going to lead your business development. Does he or she has a global culture? And you have to be careful with building a company and scaling up your operation.
Totally. Yeah, that's pretty much, proven by the globally noticeable success stories that we had. The mentioned poster child, each of these companies had an international co-founders, Peter Halacsi and Somlói Fischer Szabolcs. They had a co-founder, Peter Arvai, who is a Hungarian but was born and raised in Sweden, and Ustream also had US co-founders, as well as Logmin, which became the only so-called Hungarian unicorn. Arguably, it was not anymore a Hungarian company, but a US company. So every of our big success stories had these international element of it. I'm very curious to think if it's possible to learn this, because we can see examples from from the region, that people spend noticeable time in the US, maybe 1-2 years, travel back and forth, and they kind of learned into this global culture. So I'd like to be idealistic and believe that we can learn into this. So Kristóf, Kata, both of you, what do you think, as building a growing startup, what are the most essential missing skills, things that we need to get better at in terms of, is it product management? Is it growth marketing? Is it what do we need to level up?
I believe it's most definitely sales, and I believe that sales is also tied to the cultural differences that Gabor just mentioned, that we really like to have the end product ready. We want to have the perfect IT, the perfect technology, the perfect product, and we do not really gain traction by just perfecting the product and spending or burning all the investor cash on that. So I believe what we really need to switch our cultural mindsets and just be like, yes, I will go on that stage, or I will go to that client and I will kind of like pre-sell my solution to see if there is a market validation for my product, if there is a product market fit for my idea. So I feel like that's what we're really lacking. And then also I'm having a real difficulty to find someone with an international sales mindset. So I'm looking for business developers currently, and it's really hard to find someone who actually speaks English, knows different markets, knows the local cultures, has the network abroad. So one of my main challenges is definitely this part of the business and not the product itself, because I think we're really good at product management or creating great products. We just don't know if there is actual market need. And I believe that most of Hungarian people lack that cultural sensitivity to think about when internationally expanding, to think about how they need to adjust the product for local market needs, or what kind of factors do they need to take into consideration to achieve success with the product in a different market than Hungary.
Thank you. Gabor's connection was a little bit lagging, so he had to restart. Hopefully we can have him back. So how do you see, Kristóf? Obviously technical skills, I reckon you will say that it's also missing. Because you guys are helping to bring that. How do you sense that we always said that in the region, in Hungary, we have great technical talent and we only need the business skills, or what are the missing skills that you think need to be more for building more global tech startups?
Yeah. First things first, I can completely second Kata's description. I cannot add much to that. So regarding the technical one is it's more like a quantity and not the quality that is missing. So that we just need more, and not just necessarily in the technology, but that's answering a different question, I guess. So answering to your real question, I would approach it from a different perspective, and not a specific skill, but more like an attitude that is missing. And I think it's the courage to move into a new country. If we are talking about building a global startup, you have to be very close to the real early adopter customers. And whether is it B2C or B2B, it very rarely happens that they are in Hungary. Sometimes it does, but in most of the cases, they don't, sitting around, sadly, in Budapest or in other Hungarian cities, and not even in Central European regions. So I think the attitude is okay, I have a good product team in Hungary or in the Czech Republic or in Slovakia, that's fine. But I think the key decision makers of the company and the sales and business development has to set up a pop-up, or at least a pop-up, but preferably a permanent location in the target market. So if they are targeting Western markets or Asian markets, they have to pick a city where they can develop the hubs. For instance, I don't think that the Silicon Valley startups become that successful because they have much better technology people or designers. Okay, maybe they have, but it's not like 10 times better than we have. The real difference is that the network, what they have, the local atmosphere, and the potential clients and the access to them. So I think this attitude is, you can have a good. Gabor, can you mute yourself?
I'm back.
Sorry.
I hope it's.
Sorry. So yeah, I think I got to the end. So it's like the attitude and the courage is moving out from the region and set up a pop-up or a permanent presence in your target market. That's essential. Without that, it's not going to be as just a nice try or a luck.
And isn't it changing with COVID? I mean, when everything happens kind of online.
Yeah, actually, it makes it more difficult and easier at the same time. So it's more difficult to do the general networking. I remember when Csongi and I went to New York, and it was very easy to hang out with people after a meetup and grab a beer and a slice of pizza and talk about things and getting introductions, and more direct relationships could be built up. However, now it's democratizing thanks to COVID, because these events are being available for literally everyone all around the globe.
Thank you.
I definitely have the same opinion as Kristóf, because it's just way harder to sell to clients when you can travel to them and see them locally and give them an impression and just feel the energy. So for me, I think it's harder to sell in the COVID-19 era as before.
Thank you. Gabor, going back to the Hungarian ecosystem getting more international, I think it would be great to mention your most recent investment in the Czech startup sli.do. And yeah, please tell a little bit more about the deal. Why did you decide to get into it, and a little bit give us more details about your efforts of being more enhancing your regional and international presence.
Yes, sli.do is something we are very proud of, and we just closed the deal a couple of weeks ago. It's a brick and mortar pricing, brick and mortar FMCG pricing solution, founded by a couple of Czech mathematicians, really brilliant guys. And we were invited into the deal as a co-investor, and it felt really strange, because when they were making the pitch, after the first couple of minutes, they turned the table and felt that we are going to need to make a pitch. So they were kind of selecting investors, right? And I think what we could and can offer to them, with which we won the deal, or the opportunity to part of the to being part of the deal, is that we actually okay, their target clients are the Oceans and Tesco's and Metros of this world, okay, and OTP being the bank being present in 13 countries in the region, having these very clients, sli.do is present. We are now working on a joint go-to-market strategy, helping sli.do in sales. So that was the peculiarity of the deal, I guess. But under COVID, since it's enterprise sales, it's really difficult. So we now have to figure out an unprecedentedly creative way of how you sell a pricing engine to a large FMCG client in, say, Bulgaria from Prague. together with OTP's salespeople sitting in Budapest via Zoom. We don't have the answer yet.
Unfortunately, Gabor, you're breaking up a little bit, but I was able to understand everything, and I think that's great to see that there are VCs in Hungary that are providing basically as a platform more services and having access to market and other introductions. And what do you think, Kristóf and Kata, about the local VC scene? How are we doing with the so-called, I hate the term, smart money? How sophisticated are the local VCs, and how can they help you with similar market access help and other sort of introductions and maybe getting your follow-on runs?
Yeah, so I can closely say opinion about three particular VC funds. One of them is an early stage, which is very much focused on B2B fintech solutions. So they're like kind of a smaller VC team, and they also invested money from their previous exit into our company. So they were pretty hands-on. They provided mentoring. Also, they provided us with their international network. But then also, I feel like there is a VC on the market who has a lot of EU funds, and is supported by the government. And I had an impersonal feeling. So I gained money from them with 2 startups, and almost both of them had kind of similar milestones, which I think is not really good. But they simply don't have the time, to really get to know your business, because they invest in so many startups that they don't have the resources to also help beyond money, which I feel like is bad, because I think that a VC also can give a lot of benefits when they have an extensive network in a specific industry. And then I also have experience with a third VC, which is kind of a private fund, and they're in the middle way. So they have more startups than the early stage VC, but not as many startups as the governmental backed VC. And they're kind of in between. So they're not trying to see over everything what we're doing, which is good, because I feel like I have control over the business. But when I ask for help, they're able to provide it and connect me with international clients, for example, or support in other matters. So there are 3 VCs which I can tell my opinion about. The other ones, I visited quite a few VCs, and but I don't know them, so I don't want to say an opinion about them.
Okay. All right. So there are a couple of audience questions. If Kristóf, do you want to add anything, or you want to answer?
Yeah, just one sentence. It's about VCs. I agree with what Kata said. I think they have gained lots of experience, so processes are smoother and faster than it was even a few years ago. So there are more and more transactions. However, you have to prepare that most of the VCs are having some EU and or governmental money in the background. So they because of the nature of that, they have to be bureaucratic a little bit because they have other duties. It's not necessarily good or bad. I mean, it's definitely not something that the funders love, but it's the nature of this kind of money. In return, the upside, it's relatively easy to get funded in Hungary in these days. And in my opinion, the best thing in the Hungarian startup funding scene are the very smart and experienced serial entrepreneur angels, which we have a couple of really good ones. And I think is if you put together a combination of a good angel and a VC is a good combination, because you can invest. You can expect from the angel to be more hands-on and giving strategic advice from first-hand experience. From the VC, what you can expect is mainly the money, according to my experience. And there are some exceptions, like we work together with an impact investment fund. I don't know if I'm allowed to say name or not.
I think it's absolutely fine to say names.
with impact ventures, and they are really cool. They are trying to help in many fields, but they are a small VC, very specialized in impact driven businesses. And I work together with Balogh Petya. He's an icon and legendary angel investor in Budapest. He's also very cool, which is good that there are more and more industry-focused investment groups, so that they have real collaboration between the portfolio companies. That's also a new thing that has emerged in the last years.
I have one more thought to add just to the VC and the global scaling, that I believe what is also missing in the Hungarian market is that there should be co-investments between VCs abroad and Hungarian VCs, and that could also help with the international network aspect of it. If you have a local VC in your desired target market, that can accelerate your landing in that market.
Exactly. This is what I wanted to bring up. I think the Ildiko investment was also a co-investment with JNT Partners and with the Alchemist Accelerator from Silicon Valley, if I'm not wrong, and other Czech VCs like Credo has also invested in a few Hungarian startups and co-invested with a few local investors. I just tend to believe that we should see much more of these stories, and hopefully we will. So there are some audience questions, and one is addressed to Gabor, and the question is, what category of startups are the most appealing to investors, especially these days?
Hope my internet connection is getting better a bit. I don't know. Some people said that I'm speaking like Stephen Hawking.
It's not much better, unfortunately. It's a little bit lagging, but I can still understand you. But yeah, your sound is a little bit lagging, unfortunately.
So there are trends, and there are. I can say what we are trying to do. We are trying to understand not the actual market of the investment community, but more thoroughly the underlying market it serves. So we are trying to actively find meaningful trends, and then try to find relevant solutions to meaningful trends. So we are sector and domain agnostic, but obviously the question contained the word these days. These days, obviously, COVID changed a lot of things. It basically accelerated things. So we do see a number of sectors and actually a number of in our portfolio that not only more resilient to crises like these, but actually grow like hell in this environment. Internet security, cloud computing, some fintechs. So this whole digital transformation and all the major trends behind digital transformation will just accelerate it, really, as we all know, and that's what we are looking for. Yeah.
Absolutely, I think we live in exciting times, and all this horrible global pandemic that shifted our life also speeds up a lot of stuff and opens up new opportunities for startups. And as cliche as it sounds, crisis always brings opportunities. And I just saw one of my angel investor friend from the Bay Area that he's basically insane about the amount of great early stage startups in his pipeline, because this whole COVID accelerated digital transformation just brings up new dimensions in B2B SaaS and a lot of other sectors. I'm checking out more questions from the audience, and maybe a little bit. If we are talking about COVID-19, I know that both of your businesses were impacted in not so the beneficial way. Can you little bit elaborate on what was your action plans, and what did you adjust, and how did you react to the changes with the pandemic?
Actually, for us, it was really cool. I know it's weird to say that, but our business have changed gears because people became more people's perception on online learning has changed, and I think we have fast forwarded like 5-10 years. That how do they think about education, and how do they think about investing into the future? What are the future-proof skills in the pandemic era? And of course, it has the challenges, like the team challenges. But I think we belong to one of the few businesses that was speeding up the development.
Oh, Kata, you being in tourism?
Yeah, for us, it's been quite a journey. So as I mentioned, I joined in February, and our whole business is basically dependent on flights and air traffic, because we get our business. Sorry, my dog is here, but we're basically getting our business from delayed planes and canceled planes. We had to lay off 40% of the team, which was very unfortunate, even though we had a bigger investment round in February. But our approach was to create new products, develop our IT product, our IT, and just to come out as a winner of this whole situation. So when the market is ready again and travel revives, we will be there with 3 new products. And we also had a product which we developed in 6 weeks because of the market demand. So our operations were focused only on the EU 261 compensation for the passengers. But then we saw that a lot of passengers had problems with actually getting back a cash refund for their canceled flights. So we developed a new product called Vouchers, Say No to Vouchers, and we basically helped them to exchange their vouchers for actual cash. So I would say that it was double-sided, because of course we're very sad that we had to lay off like almost half of the team. So it was a personal struggle for all the team members that I know. But on the other hand, we had a chance to really rethink our business. And I think that overall it really fostered innovation, because we have 3 new products, and we have partnerships on the way, which will be really profitable once the market allows us to travel.
Yeah, I think whoever can survive. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I just couldn't live without words. That I think a very, very few company leader can make such a decision, like laying off the team after a big investment. So I know it's super hard, I know, but congratulations for that, if it was the right decision. That could be super hard for you, Kata.
Our leading team is just really closer to each other and very motivated, because we know that now we have to kind of justify why we made the sacrifices, but we're holding up. And also, since we're here in live, I have 2 colleagues who have COVID right now, so I just want to wish them to get better, because that's the unfortunate situation that it's really affecting everyone on a personal level, this whole situation.
speedy recovery to your colleagues, and yeah, absolutely, echoing Kristóf. I think those companies that can survive these days, that can really make it on the long run, and on the long run can benefit from these challenges. So we are slowly running out of time, but there is a last audience questions that I think it's a great closing thought, which is saying that the Silicon Valley is slowly decaying, and the Bay Area rooted companies are leaving elsewhere, seeking other markets to be long-term situated. Yet the CE region fails to promote potentials. What are your takes on that? I think there is definite true. If I may just grab a very short answer, and I'll let to continue our panelists. I think there are many people leaving the Bay Area, and the tech scene is getting less centralized, if you like, and I think it's a great growth opportunity for not just CE but the entire Europe. And I'd like to also very much hear your thoughts on that. Like, what would be the good strategies to kind of come out on the winning side of this decentralizing trend, which is going on in the global tech scene?
Short answer to that is that I feel like Asia is promoting itself way better than Europe. So a lot of the traffic or startup traffic that used to be in North America, or especially in California, Silicon Valley, is moving now to Asia, and especially to Southeast Asia. And I think why that is because they have a really strong VC funds there. And also they're working hard on enabling this kind of entrepreneurial scene, especially in Singapore. So I feel like we really need better promotion. Just as I said, we have the perfect, it's true for the whole ecosystem that we have the perfect product here, but we don't know how to sell it. And I feel like that's true for the entire startup ecosystem. We just need to sell ourselves better.
Short thoughts.
I think okay, I keep it very short. In tourism, there is an expression called destination tourism, where when it's not a single point of the ecosystem is being promoted, but it's creating a hub. And I think it's just in itself is Hungary or the Czech Republic or Slovakia or any other, or Poland, is not big enough, not visible globally. So I think, and there are nice initiatives to show it, the Central Eastern European countries. But I think this destination as a wall should be promoted better. I think that can be a solution. But there is a big competition for that, so that's not easy to do. But the cost of living and the access to talents is a good price-value ratio here, I guess.
Gabor, any closing thoughts?
Not really, and I'm sorry for the quality of the signal. I don't see the CE region as sort of as one region. I mean, there are lots of differences between the different hubs. But I agree with Kata that the general trend is for Asia now, I guess. And I do see many cultural reasons, which definitely. So I do see it predominantly cultural, the lack of business culture still.
Absolutely. But I think there are great examples, like just consider UiPath becoming a 10x unicorn, and other great stories, more than 11 unicorns from the CE now. And I think that's very true, that initiatives like Startup Disrupt and other communities that bring closer the hubs of the region, I think is very beneficial to become one community, and maybe have a better promotion on the global scene. If we can present some sort of like a unity, I think it's a big advantage of the region, that the proximity between these hubs is very close. if we would be able to travel, we would be able to travel to Bratislava, Vienna, Prague, or anywhere in a couple of hours. So thank you so much for all the panelists. We just ran out of time, and I'd like to give the word to Atahan, the country lead of Startup Disrupt, to announce the next agenda point.
Hello, thank you, Csongor, and I'd like to thank you for a great discussion, a great panel. We now will have the pitch night, where two founders of super startups will perform. They will have 3 minutes each for their presentation, and after that, I really would like you to give feedback about their presentations or any other questions you might have. So firstly, I would like to give the floor to Thomas, co-founder of Worldly. So Thomas.
Okay, hello.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. So hello to everyone. My name is Thomas and I come from Czech Republic and I'm founder and CEO of Worldly.com. We have pretty awesome product because we managed to raise 400K for travel startup in this COVID crisis. And we have raised from Czech celebrities in startup world. They are Prussia Research, which they are biggest 3D printer maker in the world. So we are very proud we managed to raise from them. And we have, thanks to the investment, we have 10 team. We have team of 10 full-time members, and we have 15,000 users. Most of them are from Czech Republic and Slovakia. And what is Worldly about? Worldly is travel tech startup. It is online travel diary and trip planner. And Worldly helps every traveler to, like, when you are a traveler and you are traveling, Worldly helps you in every part of your traveling. We divide traveling into 4 parts. First one is when you don't know where you want to go next and you want to get inspired, then Worldly helps you. Second part is when you already know where you want to go. So here comes our trip planner, which is like platform where you can exactly plan your travel itinerary. Next part is the part while you are traveling, so you can share your travel itinerary and the photos and all the information about your trip and your itinerary at our platform. And last one is the one where you want to preserve your travel adventure. So here comes our online travel diary, where you can preserve and store all of your travel adventures. So this is Worldly about. And what we are doing here now, as I said, we have most of our users in Czech Republic and Slovakia, but Worldly is a project which could be successful worldwide. But first we want to stay in Europe for 2 or 3 years, and Hungarian market is definitely one of markets we want to go in. So if here's anyone who loves to travel as we do and would like to be part of world's known startup, we would definitely would like to have you in our team. So if you want to help us to get to Hungarian market, please write to us. So that's worldly.com. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. So I would like to ask our panelists about their feedback to Thomas, about if they have any questions or anything else that they might add.
Yeah, just a quick question. First of all, congratulations for raising, for this startup during this period of time. And by the way, we had Josef Prusa in Budapest, I remember, in 2014 for the 3D printing days. So maybe we can get to know each other in the local ecosystem. So just a quick question: what is your growth strategy? How are you planning to acquire users?
Mm-hmm. We have a lot of strategies. So a lot of focus on growth hacking and growth hacking methods. One of them, for example, is influencer marketing. We are not doing influencer marketing, I would say, normal way. when you pay some amount of money to influencer who shares something on their Instagram account. We are trying to make a relationship with every influencer we co-work with, and we also focused on like mid-size and small influencers, which has from like 100 or 1,000 followers to 10,000 followers. And these influencers, for example, they are not used to cooperation, so it's much easier to start cooperation with them. So, for example, this is one of the strategies we are doing.
Thanks.
And what is your revenue model?
Our revenue model is in the trip planner, where we are not yet, but we like right now we don't have any revenue. Right now we are focusing on the product and on growth of our user base. And our revenue model is connected with the trip planner, where we are or we will have a connection to all kind of affiliates. So this is our revenue model.
Okay, I don't have any more questions, but I think we can get in touch after this, because I don't know if you listen, but my company is Flight Refund, and I think that we have synergies, but let's discuss it, like, I don't know, LinkedIn or in private then.
Sure, I have already checked your LinkedIn, so I will send you
okay.
message after this.
Yeah, that's the spirit. Personally, I don't really know your market. It seems to be a difficult B2C market, and generating revenue is definitely going to be, I think, challenging. I know it sounds maybe bad or weird, but I would not waste too much time on entering into the Hungarian market, because that's a really small market. So I mean, if you can do it with least effort, that's fine, but it's definitely not the main target market for you. And me personally, I could be a user of you. I sense the problem. I was fighting with Google Maps to putting together the spots that I have visited and in point of interest, some descriptions. So I think the product is real. As I am a traveler, I was struggling with the same problem. So I think that's a cool thing. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you. Like the revenue model, we know that generating revenue will be one of our biggest challenges, because there already have been projects like similar to ours, and like most of them failed when they wanted to generate some revenue. So this will be one of our biggest challenges, and we know that, and we really focus on that.
Is there any overlap between your value proposition and that of Travel Advisor?
You mean TripAdvisor, or between who?
Between TripAdvisor, sorry.
TripAdvisor. Yeah. So TripAdvisor works that it recommends you places to visit. Like it's best platform when you want to like get a review on some place to visit. But TripAdvisor doesn't work or doesn't recommend you whole itinerary, like the order how to visit them, how to visit the places. And Worldy is about travel itineraries. So for example, you are going to Thailand for 14 days and you don't have time to make itinerary. You go to Worldy, you filter all the trips which were made by our users to Thailand for 14 days. And you just pick the one which suits you the most. And you just click on one button and you take someone's itinerary, or we copy information from someone's itinerary into your planner. And then you can edit it and do whatever you want with it. But you just made whole itinerary of the trip in 15 seconds. So this is the biggest advantage, or this is the biggest value proposition of Worldy. TripAdvisor is like single places. Worldy is whole itineraries of the place, of the trips.
Perfect. So any other questions from you guys?
Yeah, maybe just the feedback from this, like maybe it's a good user feedback that I remember spending insane amount of time of, trying to figure out my Southeast Asian itinerary based on like YouTube videos of influencers. And I kind of had to, just Google the stuff that I saw from videos, and that took a lot of time and effort. So if that you can make that easier, I think that can be fairly unique, because I've never discovered a product that can do that well. I think your competitor is pretty much YouTube videos, and like if you find a good if you can find good relationship with influencers and like YouTube content makers, travel bloggers, I think that can be like a good channel. It's just hard to find those right channels internationally. But good luck with everything.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, and congratulations on your presentation and on your startup journey as well.
Thank you.
So we will move to our second startup founder today, which is Max, who is the founder of Untitled.com. So I welcome him to the stage, and the stage is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Max Kozlov. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Untitled, where we are rebuilding humanity's sleep. Well, basically, we help you sleep better and wake up with a smile on your face. So I'm sure all of you remember, waking up next to your phone with its ringing, or in the evening, for example, scrolling through your social media until 1 a.m. And we have come with a solution that is not, aggressive, but is the most natural way of you falling asleep and waking up. So using lights and sounds with the Untitled Sleep Box, which is our natural alarm clock, we are sort of helping people jump on the right sleeping habits, where the best thing we can do for our sleep is go to sleep at the same time and wake up at the same time. And we are making the transition from, not a good sleeper into a good sleeper very easy. In terms of building the product, we are basically done. Like next week, we are sending it to our first 200 customers, slowly but surely. We have built an app where you organize everything. You set up your morning sessions, your evening sessions. And where the idea came from is from Mark Zuckerberg, actually, where he created like a simple concept for his wife, for her to wake up easier in the mornings, like a little box that lights up at 6, turns off at 7. And from there, we definitely moved quite far. We've built this device with working with top industry experts that we locally have here. We built a team where in-house we have all like marketing, hardware, software, and we have already successfully crowdfunded this product for our first almost 200 customers. We raised 435% out of our official like 100 Czech crowns. So almost €500,000 in euros will be like close to 20K. And we are bootstrapping currently, already selling on our Czech store right now. And we have great support from biggest local influencers and biggest local media. Like we were just on TV on Tuesday, for example, on Nova, which is like one of the most viewed ones, which is wonderful. And for the future, we are planning to do more products in the smart home and sleep improvement areas, with the next product being launched already on Kickstarter and not just here locally, which is going to be very exciting, and going more into adding more sensors and sort of giving you a full understanding of your conditions around sleep. So air quality, custom recommendations that you should maybe open your window and waking you up at the very right moment. We'll be having a seed round in the spring to help sort of fund our endeavors for future products. And yeah, if you'd like to get one yourself, go to untitled.cz. That's the logo. And yeah, if you want to learn about sleep, also feel free to check out our website and get your sleep in order.
Well, thank you, Max. That was a great presentation. So I would like to give the floor to our panelists to give their feedbacks or ask their questions if they have any.
Can we have a live demonstration?
Oh yeah, sure. Well, like we would have to, I guess, wait a bit, but here you can kind of see that we're operating in, for example, this like fire-ish color. I don't know if you can see. For example, that this is the best for the evening, which we pre-set up. For the morning, you better go for more like an azure color, which in the opposite gives you energy. Yeah, and we can set up the session maybe for some time later because it takes a bit of time.
We'll soon go to sleep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If I may start, I love it. And obviously this is what I would call a great trend or a wave, an underlying wave, which is actually global. You are trying to come up with a solution. How much is it? I mean, one piece. What's the
current
planned price?
Yeah.
If you go to market.
Translated. Well, we are already like sort of undercover. We're not putting it out too publicly because we're waiting for the first reviews to start coming in. But like 145, 150 euros is the price right now.
Sorry, I couldn't understand. 140, 150 euros?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I just couldn't.
Yeah, and we're also manufacturing it here in Czech Republic from like real wood, so have the natural experience, not just from the technology, but from the actual feel as well.
What is the science behind it? And are there actual scientists in the team or behind the team?
Mm-hmm. So like in the team, my co-founder is studying biomedical engineering at the like top tech university here. I think he's the only one passing it right now, which is quite wonderful. And yeah, like we'll be also doing a study with Csongor specifically on this product, which will be quite exciting. And other than that, we are like externally working with some specialists as consultants, let's say, or for example, Hinek Medritsky is like the best expert here on sleep. He has sort of guided us towards the right colors and choosing of these things. For example, Zdenka Bendova, who's been in research over like 25 years, has been giving us advice around like the circadian rhythms and how to sort of best, let's say, portray the features.
My last question is, don't you think that the sleep hacking space is just overcrowded?
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
No?
Well, definitely not in digital minimalism and in Europe. Like, yes, you have a lot of companies that have been funded massively in that are from the US recently, like Oura Ring and stuff like that, which is a step in a very good direction. But what we are kind of missing and how we managed to worsen our sleep over the last 200 years, since we have light bulbs all the time, sort of getting away from that over digitalized world. And everyone else is kind of still pushing, let's say, numbers and stuff like that. We're trying to make the interaction as natural as possible. And then it's like the market is growing over 50% every single year, and we haven't even touched the sleep aids industry, where the like pill consumption can oftentimes be solved by just following the right foundations of sleep. As I said in the beginning, frequency and the length.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much your target market. I consider myself a sleep freak. I'm an Oura Ring owner. And actually the biggest improvement to improve my sleep was that when I decided that I never bring my phone into the bedroom, the bedroom. and that made the change. So I still don't understand, like, how are you guys going to improve my sleep better than just a non-digital variable tracker and other, just by the light, or how does it work? I didn't get it.
So basically with the first product, it's that you set everything up yourself, basically. For example, in the morning, you want to wake up, I don't know, at 7. So you can set up that, let's say from 6:15, your sleep box will slowly start to light up and give you like a simulated sunrise. So then, when you wake up too early, you don't have to look at your phone and be like, oh my God, I had to wake up in 2 hours, which is absolutely counterproductive, to your sleep, and easing you into sleep as well. So sort of for the people that are having troubles getting rid of their phone, which is great that you have already done that on your own. But for example, our customers have called this device like the reason for them to get rid of their phone from their bedroom. Like until now, there still, was something nagging them or some notifications, but with having, kind of like invested into a physical thing and actually jumping on it, that they will finally be able to.
I would have a counter opinion to this, just to this whole thing that you only need the light, because I would have suggested for you to like start to look for resale partners, since you also mentioned that there are a lot of apps like this out there for meditation and sleep improvement, such as Calm. For example, they also have the smartwatch feature where you can breathe. So, and I think that this could be like the full features of like the lights, feeling the vibration of your smartwatch and watching something in between. So I think that this could give like this whole meditation before you go to sleep. So I would definitely advise to look for like resale partners who are already established apps in this space with a lot of users. But I think that the price might be too high. So I wouldn't buy it. I thought it's a great product, but for me as a user, it would be too high. I would buy it for like, I don't know, 30, 40 euros probably.
Yeah, I would maybe buy it if it integrated with my Oura Ring, and that if you guys can make sure that, there was this sleep alarm clock app, Sleep Cycle maybe, that kind of used the gyroscope and kind of decided when you were not in deep sleep, that was when it was waking you up. So if you could somehow integrate this lighting, I would be convinced that, if you guys make sure that the lighting comes up when I'm in the right sleep cycle, kind of that would make the difference for me. For me, like this, it's kind of like a very nice looking gadget, but I wouldn't trust that it would significantly improve my sleeping just by giving appropriate lights for waking up and going to bed. But that's my take, and maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, you already have fairly good sleeping habits if you're leaving your phone out of the bedroom, which is great. And this is for our, let's say, I'm going to be honest, this is the first business we've ever kind of done. And, the team has some experience like working for other great companies, but this is our first sort of venture. And we had to prove that we can build, this product and that people want it and that we are going in the right direction. And from now on, we already have, the growing community as well with a lot of like content. We had the first conference on the future of sleep in Czech Republic. The tickets all sold out. We hit it like 1 week before everyone went to quarantine, so that was nice. And for the future products, we will definitely, or like give us a year, and I'm pretty sure the features that you mentioned, like an integration with not just the Oura Ring, but like smart home, like telling your Alexa, hey, undoubtedly wake me up tomorrow at 7, and you already have it set up.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'll hit you up.
I can second the opinion that the price sounded to me very spicy, comparing to the features that it actually offers. On the other hand, I don't think it's impossible that you can sell it on this price. I mean, if you're targeting not Hungarian markets, but other things, and if you can make it the design, and I have checked out the website, and I think if you want to go for this price range, I would somewhat emphasize the quality of the materials and the design behind it.
Yeah. Are you on untitled.com or .cz right now?
Yes. Let me check .com.
Or because we just are currently redesigning, but yeah, definitely including the story of going from the actual forest onto your sort of night table. Is on the check one.
Yeah. So my advice to sum it up, I think you can, if you want to go to this premium price, you have at least two options. One is making it more feature rich, like integration, what Csongor has mentioned, or the other way is focusing on the design. It keeps the simplicity. Maybe a little bit more feature it can handle, but it keeps the simplicity and the material, the design, the handcrafted type of things, beautiful videos. So that's kind of that kind of thing. So when you're buying, actually is the design and the material, and this is why it costs that much.
I may have an advice for you as well. I just checked out the web page right now, and I think the web page positioned it as a revolutionary alarm clock, which was missing in your pitch. And as a beautiful piece of thing, as a beautiful alarm clock, I would buy it. So I personally would market it as a beautiful alarm clock, which will wake you up without the help of your phone, instead of a sleeping device or something, or something very convoluted and scientific. It's a beautiful alarm clock. I don't know.
I missed the alarm clock part as well. So now that I know, I would pay probably more for it. So don't forget to mention that in your next pitch.
Okay, thank you everybody for your
so much
questions, and thank you for your pitch as well, Max. That was a great pitch, and I really loved the idea as well. So right now, I want to say big thanks to every one of you who has participated. And now I would want to have my CEO here again for him to talk as well and his opinions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Atahan, and thank you all of you guys, all the panelists, all the founders who were able to make it tonight, who pitched their ideas, their startups. Thank you for your amazing feedback to them, because I believe that those feedbacks are really important, after like the long journey, when those founders built something, worked on their ideas, built something real. Well, as Max already has something in his hand, like the real. I think this is much more better than only like the presentation. So thank you very much for this, and those feedbacks are really important. So once more, thank you very much. This was our first online event in Hungary, and we can't wait for the following ones, which will follow. The next month, we are actually having our first event as well in UK, London. So feel free to join. Once more, thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoyed, as well to all of you who who made the time to check all this event, and enjoy the rest of the day, and probably see you in the following events, or even our hopefully offline events in 2021 in Hungary. So thank you once more, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for having us. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Bye.